What's up guys, T-Party Percy here and welcome to the Shushire Void Abyss Dungeon Guide. In this guide I will go through all the important mechanics and skills you need to know to clear the two Shushire Abyss dungeons, Abode of the Death and Necromancer's Cliff. As always, I will only guide you through the crucial skills and mechanics, but won't explain how to avoid simple skills with a red telegraph on the ground. There are timestamps in the video description, you can use those to skip to specific boss mechanics. Without further delay, let's start with the first boss of the first Shushire Void Dungeon. The mechanic you need to pay attention to is the Blood Puddle. The boss will target frequently a random player and mark a player with a crosshair. Shortly after the crosshair appears, the boss will spit a blood puddle on the player. That puddle will stay on the ground and will deal damage to anyone who stands on it. So, the longer the fight, the more puddles will be on the battleground. So make sure to run to the edge of the arena as soon as you are targeted by the puddle skill, to give more fighting space for the rest of the fight. Once you impair the boss by depleting the purple bar, all active puddles on the ground will disappear. Before we move on to the next boss, I want to mention the jump skill because it was one of the skills a lot of new players struggled with. This skill can be simply avoided by standing at the edge of the red telegraph where the boss will land and then move towards the boss once he hits the ground to avoid the second AoE. Next on the line is the final boss of the first Shushire Void Dungeon. The crucial boss mechanic will be triggered about 1 minute after encountering the boss. On each ordinal direction of the arena, a red orb will spawn. At the same time, the boss will start to teleport to a random player and do a spin attack. The goal here is to make the boss hit with his spin attacks the orbs. Once all 4 orbs are destroyed, the boss will be impaired for a short duration and you will return to the normal phase. It is important to mention that during this mechanic the boss will take reduced damage. Also, the spin attack of the boss won't do much damage, but the explosion of the orb will. And it will also knock you up. So make sure to move towards the next orb as soon as the boss teleports to a player. Now, the mechanics for the first Shushire Void Dungeon bosses aren't that complicated, but the next 2 boss mechanics of the second Void Dungeon are more tricky. So let's start with the first boss of the second Shushire Void Dungeon. This boss will roar frequently and apply a stacking mark above each player. If anyone should get marked 5 times, the boss will do a one-hit AoE skill and wipe the entire party. To prevent this from happening, you have to collect yellow cleansing orbs. Every time the boss adds a mark, he will also spawn 1 yellow orb on a random spot. The orb will be marked as a yellow dot on the minimap. Only 1 player can use the cleansing orb, which is why you need a proper rotation, otherwise the chance of someone getting 5 marks is pretty high. The easiest way to rotate are the assigned party numbers on the left side on your screen. Player with the number 1 should take the first yellow orb, player 2 the second one, and so on. To kill this boss you need to rotate properly during the rest of the fight. The last boss of this Void Dungeon requires also some coordination. For this boss you need to assign 1 player for each cardinal direction before you start the boss fight. Because upon reaching 0 HP, the screen will flash either red or white for a second. Depending on which color the screen flashed, you have to pick one of the 2 orbs spawning on each cardinal direction. You have only a short window to pick up the correct orbs. Afterwards, the boss will revive. If all 4 players collected the correct colored orb, the boss will revive with less HP than with what he would have if you failed the mechanic. For every orb which was not collected correctly or too late, the boss will respawn with additional HP. The entire death and respawn mechanic will happen at least 2 times if you manage to collect the right orbs 2 times in a row. If not, he will get revived a few more times. In addition to that, every time he revives, he will get stronger. Before I end this video, I want to mention 2 skills of the last boss. First one is the impairment check. So if you lack impairments, take whirlwind bombs. The boss will hit you hard if you can't interrupt him during the impairment check. Second skill is the teleport. The boss will teleport to a random area and you have to immediately follow him to prevent getting hit by the big AoE. Easy way to spot the location is to paying attention to the expand direction of the red telegraph. Just trace it back to find the boss. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you have any questions, ask in the comment section down below or join the Tea Party Discord to ask it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this guide was useful. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye, your Tea Party Percy.